Друзья, просим вас занять свои места. Мы продолжаем. Автор следующего доклада сегодня...
Our agenda. The next speaker has managed to evolve from a novice into head of the DFRI team. And we're going to learn what basic knowledge is a must for a newbie and what challenges might one face on a career path. We'd like to give the floor to Lada Antipova, head of the Digital Forensic and Incident Response Team, Angara Security.
Тут вроде бы принято, я вчера выступала на треке Defense.
Well, yesterday I was a speaker at the defense track, and it's a pleasure to see all of you here today. It's great to see that on 11 a.m. day 3 Saturday morning, there are so many people in this room. Some people are still following us online. Thank you so much for that. Let me start from the very beginning. When I started thinking about the title of my presentation, it took me a very long time to think this over. My imposter syndrome prevented me from pushing the submit button so that the organizers would even consider this particular speech. Just like many of us, oftentimes I look like this, which means that on the one hand, you're a success, you start being happy, but then all of a sudden you think, maybe this is not enough, maybe I'm not doing something that I should do. And to the guys who are facing similar situations, I want to say, guys, I'm with you on that. Actually, I will not be talking about my own self, but rather about these guys, not just them as well, but I'm going to give you more details later on. By the way, this is my team. And this is just half of the headcount that we have right now. But I tried to get the best picture into my presentation so that it looks good. Another important thing I want to mention is that this is the first presentation that I wanted to prepare, despite the fact that I've been talking at various conferences for 3 years on end. Usually, you just come up with some technical text, and then based on your experience, you can just follow up on that. In this particular case, I had a hard time finding the right words to drive the message home. But since the honors were given to me, I decided to first introduce myself. My name is Lada, and actually, this is a standard slide. It describes my brief experience. We are here to discuss education, among other things, and I just wanted to mention that I graduated from the Altai University of Technology, specializing in information security, and this just goes to show you that there are information security programs offered in Russian regions, and they're cool, they're awesome, because, when I thought that when I would go to Moscow, I'm not going to be on a par with their experts. Actually, Barnaul offers a great educational program. Then I was hired as a simple engineer. I moved to Moscow, and then I specialized in monitoring. I passed through levels 1, 2, and 3. And by the way, another interesting detail, right next to the defense track, there is a blackboard where you might want to write something that you wish the organizers or other guys. And one of the wishes was, don't go to work for a security operations center. Maybe this guy was unlucky because SOC gives you tremendous experience, and which is quite unique. At least I'm speaking from my own experience, because I worked for an in-house SOC for a very long time. Then I decided to specialize in digital forensics, and now I was invited as a speaker to this conference. I run my own Telegram channel, and I also teach at a facility. What is digital forensics? We're like Sherlocks in the digital world, and indeed, this is right. This is so. We come to put out fires when an incident has already occurred, right? Much damage has already been conflicted customers come to us and they say, well, something is happening at my infrastructure. Do something. This is a fact, by the way. And by the you can answer this question in the following way. It's quite normal when you get up in the morning. You have some coffee. On a Saturday morning, it's a warm morning, the weather is fine, and in a couple of hours, you catch a flight to some remote location to investigate an incident. You have to get ready for that. It's difficult. You know, when you have to fly around all the time, it's difficult. And this is the same problem when you face when you have to be transferred from one project to another project. There is a reverse side to this coin. When you investigate real incidents, when you are at the forefront, when you spearhead this process, other things start to seem boring to you, and you gain experience at a high rate. So when you start thinking of what to do next, you say, damn, I cannot give up this exciting work. So I already mentioned having a cup of coffee early in the morning. So this is the first hint that I want to share with you.
Акцентируйте свое внимание на свежих публикациях и читайте
read the most recent publications, read as much as possible, whether you are specialized in incident response or not. We're talking about information security in general. By the way, when I only started my career, that was one of the pieces of advice that was shared with me. When you go to any news channel or a Telegram channel, you are overloaded with too much information about hacking attacks, incidents. Ralph Hacker publishes an article on 10 more vulnerabilities or new exploits. So what do you do to cope with so much information? Out of this overload of info, I would suggest that you read just small pieces that you're really interested in, and step by step you'll understand how to use it. Don't try to read everything as you would read Wikipedia. Just allocate 15 minutes per day, or any actually time that you're prepared to allocate for reading these resources. By the way, this is not an exhaustive list of the resources that you might want to read through. I just highlighted the major websites run by local InfoSec and CyberSec vendors, blogs, reports, you name it. Since I'm talking about the digital forensics, I also listed some of the personal blogs that I highly recommend. Telegram channels. It's common knowledge that there are multiple Telegram channels with very useful resources that you might want to look in. One of my acquaintances said that he should probably run his own Telegram channel because everyone seems to be doing that. And there are large-scale bloggers and large blogs run by several people. So these are my personal recommendations. This is my personal list of favorites. If you have no idea what to start with them, and then you will identify your own priorities. Attend conferences, watch videos that you're interested in, and step by step you will gain some understanding of what needs to be read. All the conferences that I have attended so far, it's not about listening to people, understanding everything they're saying. It's more about networking. I'm here to network. By the way, as far as this PhD fest is concerned, I just at the defense track, I only listened to about 30% of all the presentations, not to mention other tracks. I will definitely spend the entire next week to go over the screenshots that I made during this conference. When you talk to your counterparts in the community, you'll see more exciting things that you can look into at your leisure time on your couch, eating potato chips or anything else. I went at a tangent, but now let me go to the main part of my presentation, which is how to become a top-notch incident responder. Basically, I'm a nerd
Я очень
uh,
люблю докапываться до
in
мелочей.
this sense
Вот.
because
Для
I
меня
pay
как и Б,
much
это
attention
часть
to detail.
А если
InfoSec for me is
целом,
part of IT
если
in
вы придете и
general.
скажете
So
то, что ну вот
if
тут я сделаю
if
так и
you
так, и будет
come and tell me
безопасненько,
that
там
I did
дальше
this or
админ
that for
сам
the
разберется, как
sake
это
of
сделать,
security, and then
ну,
it'll be
для
up to
меня
the
команду
admin
будет только жить.
to
Потому что
do the
я
rest,
считаю
you are
то,
not going to
что
be
ну,
part of my
это
team.
просто практика из моего
Because
примера, где я работала,
this is my
опять
personal
же,
experience, by the
мониторинге.
way.
Представьте
I used to
ситуацию,
work
мне
for
всегда
a
очень
monitoring
помогает.
center,
Я
for
также
a SOC
рассказываю
center,
своим студентам,
and
я
by the way,
студент
that helps me a lot. And I
первого дня,
tell my students the following. Back then, I was a 25-year-old young girl. Right next to me, there was an expert for database management systems, InfoSec, CyberSec, anti-fraud, app security, and so on and so forth. So if something happens during your shift, and your shift operates 24/7, you have to come in, and me, a 25-year-old girl, had to explain to the experts responsible for the product what happened. You have to describe the incident, and you have to describe the follow-up steps. And if he says, I don't want to do that because it doesn't work that way, you have to speak the same language with these guys to be able to explain things to them. And the very same thing is happening right now. Something happens, and someone will tell you, I'm not going to do this. You have to prove your worth, and you have to be able to explain the follow-up steps. Digital forensics, well, it's quite clear-cut. You can replace it with any applied domain that you want to develop yourself in as an expert, for instance, app security, info security, whatever. And the last but not least, bullet is the soft skills. You have to know how to speak to people. This is important. And I'm going to give you examples to show the importance of soft skills. So let's go over these three bullets in sequence. These are some smart books that I recommend reading, but books are not the only tool. The best way to deep dive into information security is as follows. We InfoSec guys need to know more, and by reading smart books, you are not going to be a top-notch expert. Though I do recommend reading smart books. The best way to become a top-notch responder is to deploy your own lab, assign multiple roles to virtual machines in your domain. You will have some pain points. The machine is not going to see everything in the domain, and you will understand what an admin, an ordinary admin, faces on a daily basis, and you'll be able to speak the same language with them. By the way, using my personal experience, I've always dreamt of having a great CV at a website. I thought that it was a prerequisite for any top-notch expert. I still don't have a CV or a website, but the very experience of buying a domain with a beautiful domain name, because you have to focus on your personal brand. Then you deep dive into DNS entries, backend, front-end, your area of responsibility, the way you're gonna develop your own website. Well, in the past, I didn't have much time to complete all of that. But again, this is a useful experience because DNS entry is linked to other things, and you can use other pieces of knowledge to assemble a puzzle ultimately. So basically, hands-on experience is what I do recommend. And the books will help you out on your journey. By the way, despite the fact that I graduated as a major in information security, much time is spent on studying IT and networks, and we programmed a lot, which means that I ignored many of the subjects taught to us at college, despite the fact that I was an A student. Now I have to learn this on my own. My experience shows that all these stuff are important. They are, trust me. And you try to tell an interviewee that this is important to know the difference between the different systems. And it's not just because the interviewer is trying, to ask a tricky question. Now let's move on to the digital forensics. Again, this is a vast domain. For instance, if you read any book of the ones shown below, for instance, the art of digital forensics, of memory forensics, you wouldn't want to do anything with the digital forensics because this book is that thick. So eat an elephant piece by piece. Start with simple things. If you don't know what to start with, then go to more seasoned experts. They will give you a hint. They will give you a piece of advice. And we start using digital forensic terms from the get-go without understanding the details. If you try to deep dive into them from the scratch, you will not be able, to surface. I've been in digital forensics for many years, but as soon as a new book is published, I read it. And one smart person just told me once, how come you read so much? You know all these things. Well, it's awesome. It's cool. As soon as a book is published, even if it's 300 pages long, you just skip some parts of the books because you're already familiar with it. Every author has his or her own vision. They have details to share with the audience, and when you find the most important thing, you're happy. Or it could be just the opposite. You read the book and you understand that there is nothing new for you in there. But nevertheless, read books. As for hands-on practice, this is something different from reading books. Oftentimes, when you investigate an incident, you cannot say that I read in a book that this should be this way and this way. It doesn't happen that way. Satswell is one of the resources listed in the slide. Back then, the handbox was not as popular, and there were very few tasks pertaining to the digital forensics, and you had to look for specific tasks and problems to be solved. So at this stage, you have to be clear about the following fact. All the CTF resources, for Red Team, it's way easier. They just hack things. And in our case, what you're going to find in the CTF is going to be totally different from the things you're going to see in real life. The diagrams are going to be complicated, and you will spend days to decipher the diagrams to understand how it works. And when you come to investigate a real incident, you will be totally dumbfounded because the top 10 listed on one of these resources are not going to be used in real life. So you have to be proficient on sources of data and so on and so forth, but just keep this in mind, that in real life it's going to be different. As for training courses, I cannot but mention that, by the way, this is not an exhaustive list of resources. These are resources that I listed off the top of my mind because I hear about them on a daily basis. And just like most of my colleagues, I undertook some of these courses. As for the Kaspersky X training and SENS, I love them. CyberRed, PTBar, these are cool resources and awesome resources, but be smart about picking them. You cannot take them just to get a certificate. And I always tell my students that, these are great training courses, but there are people who do this on a daily basis, ask them, shoot your questions to them if something is unclear. Even if you ask them a stupid question. By the way, when my students ask me questions, they set me thinking. I start thinking, I've never even thought about this particular way of attack or defense. So it's important to be able to address questions to people with hands-on experience. Another important thing, which is not mentioned in the slide, but I cannot but mention it, that's mentorship. I know that there are whole mentorship movements, a Menti platform, or I forget the name of the platform, which offers the relevant services. I had mentors back in the day. Back then, they did not use the term of mentorship, and you didn't have an official mentor. But I worked for a security operations center, and the senior expert acted as a mentor. He just told me what needs to be done. And the same held true when I started specializing in digital forensic. And you're going to be lucky if you find a person like that. That doesn't mean that he or she will read you hour-long lectures. These guys are always short of time, but they will share with you pieces of advice. They will give you hints and tips, and there are great examples of top-notch experts who had no mentors and who just gained experience on their own. It's up to you, to identify your own journey. Let's move on. And like I said, the most difficult part of the work we do is communications and soft skills and being able to talk to people. You might think, well, she's right here on the stage. It's so easy for her to say so. Well, 3 years back, if you saw my very first presentation, when I was so nervous, my voice was trembling. And when I had to talk to customers, and the customers would ask you questions, I was like, Jesus Christ, I cannot cope with that. I'm an IT to my core. I love sitting behind my laptop. I like searching things. I never liked public, and I still don't like public speeches. Oftentimes, I hate people so much that I put on my headphones not to hear anything. When you research something, I just put on my headphones. Some people will listen to music. I sometimes listen to classic music, or I just activate the noise suppression in my headphones. People think that I'm listening to something, but I don't. And that fends people off because they think that you're busy, that you're deep into whatever you're doing. And this actually reflects my internal essence. You might think that I'm an extrovert and that I love talking to people. It takes experience to become one, but I could recommend lots of books, a ton of books on the soft skills. Before my first speech at the first PhD Fest 2 years ago, I actually read this book titled Kama Sutra for Public Speakers, and there is a ton of books that I can recommend to you. However, without experience, without without making your own mistakes, you're not going to be a great public speaker. Let's move on to the traits which are important for an expert and the incident responder. Patience and focus. No matter how trivial it might seem, given the huge amount of information such people have to sift through, and then go over the same data set again and again, because new details might come out, new specifications might be handed over to you. If you're not patient, if you're not focused, if you're not that, it's not going to work for you. System thinking is about an ability to see the forest for the trees and identify the causality. What happened before that? Are these events even linked? This is an important skill. Oftentimes, I see the following situation. You get a notification from the Security Operations Center or a notification about any event, and you have to interpret the raw data into simple Russian. Very few people, many people can do that, but very few people can actually say whether it's a malicious event. It's one thing to state the facts, and it's a totally different thing to be able to interpret them. Staying curious or curiosity. Actually, I did not know what term to use in this regard, but when I prepared my PPT stack, Alexei Lukatsky, who supervised this track, looked through my presentation and he asked me the following question. How do forensic and incident response experts hone their skills? And if you've been following the presentations for the past 3 days, you probably know that incidents tend to repeat themselves time over time. And this is true. For instance, we work from incident to incident, and 60 to 70% of the incidents are basically the same ones. That's roughly speaking. For instance, when you see a dozen encryption cases, you're going to be proficient. By the way, project leads in my team know what needs to be asked for, what an amount of data they need. They are more. Sometimes they are more proficient than we are. Encryptors, encryption attacks are the number one threat, and oftentimes you tend to miss things because you're too used to certain types of threats. So being curious will help you out. Ask any member of my team, and they'll tell you that our profession is never boring. You complete an investigation, but you see something interesting, something that confuses you. For instance, you don't fully understand what happened in a system, even if it's not linked to the main event, to the main incident. Something was not clear to you, and it was something awesome. We have the research time allocated for experts to deep dive into something interesting in a vulnerability. And first and foremost, that increases your investigation time threefold, and you are not going to be burnt out. By the way, this is something that I will be talking about time and again. Being hard and being soft at the very same time. If you know me well, you probably heard the story that I'm going to share with you, but I believe that this is a great example of what it means to be hard and soft at the very same time. Just take myself as an example. I go as a responder on site, and by the way, this is a real case. I arrived on site to investigate an incident. You get a phone call at 7 a.m. You're just out of shower, no makeup. You have just got out of bed. So an hour later, you come on site, and the IT administrator says, Are you the one to investigate the incident? Maybe we should call someone more senior. And you have to fend off such offenses. Well, I am a female, but it happens to everyone. You have to be confident in what you say and what you do. Regardless of anything, you should be confident. But at the very same time, you should be softly spoken, because these guys have just experienced an incident. They chain smoke in their smoking rooms, and you should be the one who come and say, the most dangerous thing has already happened, or you have to expect this or that. Let's try and do and think together about what needs to be done. And that's part of the soft skills that you should have.
вторая часть.
Right. And the second part of my presentation already covered soft skills and hard skills. So now let's move on to my favorite part, which is best of the best. It's titled Best of the Best. I already said that I would mention my own team, but we are not the only DFIR team. We're not the only ones specializing in defense, digital forensics and incident response. But the title is Best of the Best. So I consulted with some of my counterparts to hear what their take is on how to become a top-notch expert, how to be in the middle of the fire, but still staying relevant and up to date. And let me cross the T's and dot the I's. So I would say that the first thing is to keep on learning from your own mistakes. You will make mistakes all the time. You will think that I should have done this or that. I should have done this earlier. I should have done this better. That's what we live for. This is part of our daily lives. This is a norm. And let me share this quote with you. It's my favorite quote.
Почему? Мне кажется, то, что вообще смысл.
Don't think that you are the smartest person in the room. Never let yourself think that you are the smartest. You have to trust your team. They will help you out. And I know that people have different opinion of that, but as to me, I believe that it works better if you are not pushing yourself forward, but instead when you are delegating to people, when you are relying on your people. And another thing I wanted to mention in this context is you have to know how to talk to people and how to write reports. So you have to be competent in Russian in your native language, and you will have to address different people. Some of them are tech savvy, others are not, and you have to be able to explain what happened and what is being done to different audiences. You need to demonstrate that, this is an area for prevention, this is something that you could have done and you better do next time. So I'm not talking about typos here, I'm talking about using appropriate language. So some people have technical assistants who do reports for them. Some of you will write reports yourself, but I suggest that if report has been prepared for you, you still read through it before you submit it to the customer. And also, you use facts, you are being constructive in your wording, but you have to be kind. You have to be careful, and you should not submit to provocations just because some, I don't know, CEO thinks that you should have done everything differently. Well, no, you have to stick to your point, you have to stick to your principles. And I'm going to list several more ideas, give you some more, messages that I think are very important. The imposter syndrome is something that many people are familiar with, but once you gain experience, when you've seen many incidents, not just unicast, but real incidents, big ones. Sometimes you get thinking that, well, you have seen it all. But it's very important to stop yourself and not be presumptuous and not put on airs. Because, things happen and there is always someone smarter than you, more experienced than you. You should also take every incident as an adventure. This will prevent your burnout and it won't let you close your eyes onto
четко знать,
things you don't want to deal with. You have to be consistent, and you have to ask yourself questions. And if some data is missing, first you have to find the data, and only after that answer the question instead of skipping that question or being superficial in answering it. We shouldn't forget about the goals of the adversary.
Правильно применить все те меры, которые мы
We have
говорим в
to
словах, которые работают
walk
в теории,
the
но на
talk,
практике
you know.
могут работать и отражаться совершенно по-разному. Вот тут тоже на самом деле мне было очень приятно, потому что по факту
This is another very important
мы уже с вами разбирали, это
slide here. We have already talked about reasoning. You have to make use of logical, systemic, analytical reasoning. You have to. It's something that we've talked about.
либо должны уметь разбираться в чем-то и иметь максимальный багаж знаний, поработать.
You must have the knowledge. Why do I love SOCs? Because when you work at an SOC, you can try out many different tools and understand how they are connected and what applies where. If there is a system that's not familiar, give yourself time to understand how it works. Because there isn't any other option, really. You have to know how to translate from the technical language to human language and automation. Actually, people ask me, does one need to be a programmer to go in cybersec? Well, this is probably not that's not a mandatory prerequisite. Well, of course not, but with time, you will get there. There are reasons why we study programming, coding at the university. You should be able to do at least some automation because there are some things that will repeat over and over. So you need to have, of course, you have to have the team, but you are a response expert. And if you see that there is certain thing that you keep doing in and out, you need the same script over and over again in different incident handling, probably it's a good idea to automate that particular script, that particular scenario.
Следующие нюансы. То, что во всем должен быть баланс.
You have to find the balance. When you've got experience, you will know when it is time to stop. Someone who's into forensics, there is a big risk to overload yourself with data, especially in criminal forensics. You can dig and dig and dig, but only experience will allow you to understand that you've reached the point when you understand that, okay, the pattern of this incident is not going to change, even if you add more and more data on top of everything that you've already uncovered. Be cold-blooded. Be emotionally stable. And self-control. Self-control is yet another very important soft skill. This is a message that I love, and I keep telling my guys that forget there is Russian. Well, of course, I know I'm against simplifying things. It's okay if you Google stuff in Russian, but the most critical knowledge that you will ever be able to obtain is in the English language. This knowledge is in the English language, so please, even if you can't talk English, you need to be able to read English. There are so many resources out there. You will limit yourself. I mean, if you Google in Russian, why is it limits to yourself? I mean, you will be losing a ton of information. English, period. You have to trust, but you have to control. Sometimes you arrive at an incident site and someone tells you, well, leave that system out because my admins have been through it already, there aren't any traces there. Or sometimes you hear, and my colleagues are going to really appreciate that because it happened to everyone. Like, RDP? Do you mean our RDP looking outside? no, can't be, no, who do you think we are? And then you go back to this guy and say, here's the evidence. And he says, oh, oh, okay. Now we'll have to clean everything out. Another important point, my colleagues, myself, we get to face that regularly. You have to remember that communication channel access should be limited because it can be compromised, and especially during incidents. The Telegram bots and everything, colleagues have demonstrated how easy it is to get our Telegram sessions, to when admins receive messages from the accounts of their own employees, but these messages are sent by the attackers. And then, okay, what do you do with that? So it's very important to be mindful of that, and response experts will definitely advise you on how to act best in arranging your communication with your team. Cognitive distortion. Well, usually it's about threat intelligence. There is a lot of stuff there. This is basic theory that you get right at the entrance point. And colleagues saying that, yeah, we are actually getting that as well. Cognitive bias. You have to remember that humans by nature are biased. We usually try to find information that we already know in every new situation. Our perception of reality is subjective and it's based on our prior experience. So it's very important to ask oneself, why am I so sure that I know that? Why do I know that I know? Next, there is propensity to action even if it's not going to show positive results. So we tend to act when there is no need or when we're not sure where it's going to lead us. Sometimes you arrive at an incident site, you get there at, I don't know, at 12, and then in an hour and a half, someone comes to see you and says, how's it going? Well, what was it? Was it fishing? It's been an hour and a half. Only. We have only had time to talk to the admins, not more. And people are already expecting some every minute report and everything. So again, it's very important to find the right balance when your client or an IT director wants to get these every hour reports. We need to explain to them that there is no rush. Well, you can report to them every hour, it's okay. But the important thing is you need to explain that we are currently at the stage of such and such, and we have found this and this, but we aren't going to do anything about it, or we are going to only do these things on the list that I'm handing over to you. Why? Because if we act, if we rush into action, then we may inflict more damage. An incident can be really hurtful. It can leave a trace. And every time you see an antivirus alert, the only thought that you have in the mind, we'll need to call forensics now, I'm being hacked. So this is also an important piece. Well, yeah. No, you have to be on alert. That's true. But again, don't overdo it. And
аномалии с артефактами. Это по большей части, несмотря на то, что мы не про супертехнические вещи говорим, но мы
anomalies with artifacts.
Прям точно не можем. Абсолютно в полной мере.
This may sound super technical, but I need to talk about that. If you see an anomaly with artifacts, if you feel like there's something weird there, probably your gut feeling is right, and you need to double check, do reverse engineering, do additional analysis. It's better because our tools are not perfect, and as forensics, we need to remember about that always. You have to request the disk image, the drive image. Sometimes it helps, even if the system is encrypted. There are still cases when not all data is lost. and the data can still be retrieved. But they should not slow down your investigation. There are some things, you come to the customer and you say, let's take images from all drives and also operate memory. While you are doing this, the infrastructure will burn down the second time. So you have to remember about that. Triaging methods will not only triages images to CTFs. CTFs will not help develop much in the response skills, but they will definitely boost your reverse engineering skills. CTFs are more about algorithms. That's something different, and you can take Aristotle and get the working samples, and you investigate them, research them, boost your skills. Again, this slide sums up everything that I've said. Soft skills sometimes turn out to be more important than hard skills. You'll have to act fast, and it's okay if you don't something right away. Spend another hour, you'll get the knowledge, you'll find things out. Don't worry. Well, you have to be thorough, you have to be bold, you have to stick to your principles, and you have to be dynamic and actionable. If you are a response expert, you have to remember that your work is not 9 to 5. You may get a phone call sometime late at night or sometime over the weekend. You may be called to work away from a lovely breakfast with your family. You have to be ready for that. And another thing, check any information. Do not react before you understand what you deal with. And another thing, I need to mention, one visit to the customer may actually serve a better purpose than 10 phone calls. This is when you put a hot iron to the butt of your customer, and sometimes your presence there will enable you to get the data much faster than trying to request that remotely. So a response specialist, just like anybody else, needs to work for pleasure. If your work gives you pleasure, things will get better, you will grow, there will be the right people around you, and your skills will grow. There is no doubt about that. And please remember also that your success story may be different from other people's success stories. It's your story. Stick to it.